One option, and that was to just hit it about as hard as you want.
Just go.
And ever since then, everything's been fun.
Oh man, you got power windows, dude. That's sweet.
This is Dusty's. Do you know Dusty Clark that works with us?
I don't think I've met Dusty.
Okay.
It's Capper here. Welcome back and welcome to any of our new viewers. So we are continuing on our search for freedom for our next forever farm. We've been looking at a lot of farms in Missouri. We've looked at a few in northern Arkansas. And today Sharon and I are going to take a quick road trip down to western Kentucky, and we're going to check out one that just popped up like only a few days ago. 180 acre parcel. Although, as you'll see, it could be a 205, but some possible neighbor issues, maybe buying a piece. Anyways, plan B, C, D, E, or E is that, okay, if we can't find our next forever farm with a home on it, we'll look for a beautiful piece of raw land and try and build and replicate what we've got and try and do it all over again. Anyways, that's what today is. Look at this beautiful 180 acres in western Kentucky. It's near Kentucky Lake, beautiful countryside. So anyways, join us for the road trip, land assessment, and let's see what happens. Thanks a lot. Okay, so first I'm going to run you through the ad real quick. It just popped up, if I remember correctly, only a couple days ago. They're advertising 180 acres, beautiful rolling hills, right like literally a short distance from Kentucky Lake. So here's the advertisement real quick, and then we'll do our road trip together. Kentucky. Here's one for sale right there. How far out are we total? Still
5 minutes.
5 minutes out.
Well, to the road.
The next right onto Blood River Road.
Blood River Church. Wow, must be
Subdivision C, right there.
subdivision. Oh, there's your favorite. Cars everywhere.
Gotta have a junkyard in the band. And a roost.
So I'll pull that up here in just a minute. Almost to the turnoff, and it's not a very long road at all. All right, we just hit gravel. There. So as we're approaching this property, as you can clearly see, all the ridge tops, which are right up next to the road, are being like totally cleared. And it's a growing area. I mean, all red states are growing much faster than other states right now. So as we're going to approach this property, you're going to see it's cleared right up to the property line, and the way the driveway lays out, it's actually the driveway going into this 180 is actually pretty close to this newly cleared area. So you can bet, it's going to be houses in here, or single wide mobile homes, or double wides, or whatever. And this is only like a mile from Lake Barkley on this road right here. So it's a very pretty area, but you just don't know what's coming next. In rural areas, if there's no building codes, pretty much anything can get plopped in right next to you. Just food for thought. So right here is about the property line. The clearing ended, and you're going to see Tyler's pickup truck, the whitetail guys, right here. Now the thing with hill country is you can't really pick where your driveway goes because you have to follow the ridges. I mean, you don't have to, but in this steep country where it drops off here to the left, you can't successfully have a good driveway unless you literally want to spend an arm and a leg crossing ditches and building up low spots and that. So the roads, generally speaking, follow the ridges. So here, let's start this property tour on the first driveway, which is a ridge top. Beautiful, beautiful start though.
Pole right there, so they have fiber right there at that corner. So it hasn't come to the left yet, but it's right there at that. So you could probably get it run down here.
So in hill country, when it comes to deer hunting, you generally either have good ridge tops for food plots or you have bottoms. This is a bottom field. You're going to see the first food plot here. Hunting in bottom fields is more challenging in my opinion because the wind swirls and all that kind of thing, and you got to go through a lot of woods to get to them. Whereas if you have your food plots on the ridge tops, you can sneak in a lot quieter and bring the deer to you. As the deer can be bedding on all the sides of the ridges and that, and they'll come up onto the ridge tops. It's just my opinion from our experiences, but it's a really pretty bottom food plot right here.
Plaques on some of the trails. So they got a little plaque right over there as you're coming in off that other trail that they call this Warrior Field.
Warrior Field?
Yeah, the one. Microburst storms that we had that came through this area. Of course, pine trees never fare very well in those, so they had some blow over. There's a little pocket up here that's down pretty good.
Are these all loblollies,
I don't know.
I don't know if they got red pines down this far.
I know a lot of this stuff, they cut it up and they take it all to Wycliffe to the paper mill. So it must not be the good stuff. But this ridge, you can kind of see right where we're at right now. So it kind of runs all the way up, and then this is all finger that runs all the way back up there to that corner that's all the way up there.
So he mentioned finger. So the best way I can explain what a quote finger is in hill country, you could see here, it's not necessarily one of the official terms. But anyways, if you took the top of a ridge and then the very bottom of a bottom that are right next to each other, and it's steep. All right, so the top is really steep and it goes straight down, but a finger is like a gentle slope going all the way from the top down to the bottom. So it's easier to walk, it's easier to put a road system on, and the deer generally might travel a finger, because it's a lot more gentle than trying to go up straight rock, if you will, or down straight rock. So when he says finger here during today's thing, that's kind of what he means. It's a terrain that you look for not only in deer hunting, but if you're going to build a road system as well. What have you guys actually been getting per acre for bigger chunks lately?
Down here, it's a lot more closer to 3,000 an acre, down right around that area. This one's priced a little bit higher than what we typically do. Of course, this isn't our listing, this is Mossy Oak's listing.
This food plot is in the bottom down here, as you can see by all the standing water. I really like his Can-Am. It's actually not his, he said it's Dusty's. Okay, so we're going to go towards one of the property lines. It stays in the bottom here for a little ways. And then we're going to go back and hit some ridge tops. There's not a great road system on this property. There's really only one main road, but there is access from two different roads, which you're going to see here from the main ridge top. And the back access is deeded access. It's very, very pretty back there. So we're going to run back through the bottom and we're going to hit the next ridge and then continue on.
Finger that goes all the way back up towards that back road.
Okay.
Stand here, he's hunting right on that ridge. So that's good. Here's that right there. Check. Just like the ear, it just kind of runs down through there, so you can kind of see how it's on either side. So this is that's why I said it's not much of a bottom, it's just a small section. Where I saw it stop, we're right there at that house that was right before this one. That's where I saw the last power line at. But I have it running all the way down there. Maybe
But there's another house there.
yeah, it's gotta be right here somewhere.
All right, so now we're going up this next finger up to the next ridge top, and you're going to see another micro plot here. This is on a shelf. That basically means we're not all the way to the top of the ridge yet. As you can see in the background there, we're halfway up. So that's why I call this a shelf. Some people call it a bench. Anyways, we're still going up on the ridge top.
Everything falls off around. So it's remember I was telling you earlier about the Yarborough? From what it shows on everything, that's his little section. So it's like almost like a rectangle that runs all the way in. So my guess is that he's never sold that piece.
So as you could see here, the red and white line, that's the new proposed property line that they're selling. There's a cutout in there from a neighboring property. Not necessarily a game changer, but the shape of your property makes a big deal. Let's say you have 120 acres. If you have it in an L shape, 3 different 40s, you're only a quarter mile wide, as opposed to if you had it in a square or a rectangle, it's just going to lay out a little bit nicer. Not a total deal breaker, but just food for thought.
So it just runs in there. Everything around it was sold.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, now we're headed all the way to the back of the property. So on the front, we had a gravel road entrance, and on the back, it's going to be another gravel road, but it's a private deeded access. But this is a very pretty ridge top. As you could see, you got beautiful pines, you got a mix of some hardwoods in there, but it is very narrow. Matter of fact, most of the ridges on this property are very narrow, which limits your usability, because when you start hiking off the left or the right side here, it gets pretty steep pretty fast. So let me show you a map real quick on where we're at and where we're headed.
Yeah, we're coming up on, there's the cutout right there in front of you.
We're going that way?
No, we're coming down.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you look right here up by this gravel road, this is around where we came in at. We followed a ridge top down, and this is the bottom right here in the middle, and now we're coming up on the second ridge here headed towards the back. As you could see on the map down here, this property line, you can't even really see it, but it is a road. It's a very good road too. It's a good access and it's very private, so that's where we're going to hit next as we make our way through to the very back side of this property. I mean, 180 acres lays out really big. I mean, it's a lot of ground to get around. This is actually 205 acres, but you're going to hear the rest of the story here later in the video on why it's 205 and why they're only selling 180. So that corner cutout was pretty close to that plot we just went by.
Yeah, if you fall off that ridge right there, which when we go back down there, if you fall off that ridge before you get to that bottom of that ridge, that's where the corner is.
Okay. So you said the other road is on this back side?
The other access. To the road.
Okay.
So basically at that marker that you're seeing right there, it kicks and it goes straight across. Right to your, directly to your right is there's some tape right around the tree right down there. Yeah. You can actually, when we get up here on the road, you can actually see it.
So what he's describing is we're facing this way, south, and to our right, this little property jog right here, that's kind of what he's describing. So part of this back access is going to border this road we're going to go on, but then a part of it is not going to actually touch the road, but you still have the deeded access. So it sounds like this deeded easement serve multiple properties?
Yep.
Right there. Oh, I see that tape hanging there. And then is this dead end, or where does this road come in?
This road will actually go all the way up to, I'll show you.
Yeah,
it takes you all the way to the cemetery road. So it's going straight across. It's following once you get in there in the woods, it goes straight across.
But this is on a neighbor.
This is a neighbor. This is for like a neighbor's little mark right here.
Oh, okay.
So
that little
when you stepped in right there to those 3 trees, and then it cut across. So there's like a little sliver right here that's not on the property.
Okay.
See, because if you look at where we are right now, see how we're kind of.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So then it still runs that way. We're just not on it.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So this is a beautiful road, having a secondary access. generally speaking, can be an advantage. I mean, one, if you ever wanted to sell part of the property later. So this is a gravel pad. It's a really nice road, and as you're going to see, it comes out to the gravel road that we came in on the very front side. There's a house here at the very end. That's a neighboring entrance now. There's, 3 or 4 or 5 property owners that have this deeded access. So there you see one of the neighbor's deer stands. That's one of the drawbacks. Any one of these property owners can use this anytime 24/7 since it's deeded. And if you got your deer stand on there, again, he's got his deer stand on there because it's a ridge top and everything else is really steep. You can close this off at the end with a gate, and then everyone who has deeded access would have a key. So it has advantages, but it also has disadvantages, like you just saw the deer stand. If that's you and you got your deer stand near this access road and the neighbors come and bust your hunt, after you invested a lot of time and energy and scent control and all that, it could have an impact that way. So it's a double-edged sword having 2 access roads like this. So let's finish checking it out. It's a beautiful road though, and it's another access point to a pretty good-sized property that is lacking on an internal road system, just mainly because of the terrain.
Out here just to get a feel for it, but it may have a gate. He didn't tell me.
Okay, this is where the fun comes in and the actual intel, and this is why you do this. So this home is at the very end of this deeded access road. There is a gate up here that he can close. He's not a full-time resident here. As a matter of fact, this guy I think was from Illinois. I didn't record our conversation, but I'm going to tell you what happened, just to respect his privacy. So this guy owns the 80 acres next to this 180, which is actually 205. But the seller has promised this gentleman a 20 or 25 acre piece cutout. So we were able to get this intel while talking to him. Now, our first thought was, we were told, hey, you could buy the whole 205. And that's what we would do. If we want to buy it, we're going to buy the whole 205 and not the 180. And so the agent is like, well, if you bought the whole 205, this guy wants to buy a piece. But after looking this whole situation over, the piece that this guy wants to buy is a premium piece. It's a ridge top, which would attach to, where one of his food plots is in there. So out of this whole property, let's say it's 200 acres, let's just say there is 30% ridge tops. So this guy wants to buy a 20-acre piece of all ridge top. So you could see the value in that just by the math. So lucky we found this out. You could be coming into a potential, I'm not going to say property dispute, but I'm going to say if you went ahead and bought the 205 and they kind of reneged on their promise to give this guy 20 or 25 to sell it, you could have a early property battle started. I don't think that's the case, but you could also then sell it to the neighbor if you wanted to, but then he might not want to pay more than he was promised the first time. So it does add some new twists. So I'm glad we stopped and the guy came out and we had a long conversation about this. So here again, boots on the ground and actual intel is very important to have, because the listing agent didn't really tell us anything about this particular situation. And then he told us that the property owner on the other side also wanted a 20-acre piece up by the road. So there again, he could potentially cut 2 20-acre pieces off of it, knock it down to a 160-acre piece. So just food for thought. That's why you get boots on the ground and you get as much possible real-time intel as you possibly can. Okay, so what we did was we turned around at the dead end and we drove all the way back. It's like probably at least 1.5 miles or 2 miles, literally. So I'm not going to re-record that and show you that, but now I'm going to show you we're coming in the opposite direction and we're going to pick up here where the property, the one we're looking at, actually meets this new access road, and then this is all fresh stuff you're going to see from here. But the property line ain't bordering this right now.
Yeah, this is all the property to the left is on that 205. You can kind of see right here. Drops off and runs down all the way down through there. You'll be able to see the tree right here marked just like that other tree. Got great access right here. Right there, we're kind of looking at.
Yeah.
That's where we kind of drove in at. See where?
With the small plot in the middle?
Yep, that's that little plot right there. That's that ridge. That's how high up that is. So it comes down and then comes back up. So that, you kind of see the dip in it. That's why I like to show farms just down here. You can see it across there.
Yeah, I know.
There's the edge of the property right there. See the pin?
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, so now I believe we're right about here. So this stretch here actually borders this back deeded access. We're going to continue down it. Basically, it dead ends at the next property over. So it's not a through road, but then we're going to run back into this finger back here where there's a food plot and a deer tower, but there's not a continuing road that goes back into the property. So it's kind of a dead end, if you will. If we were to buy it, of course, I would take and extend that road all the way throughout the property, but you'd have to go all the way down to the bottoms and all the way back up these big steep ridges.
Yeah. And I don't have a clue how far this goes. But we can find out.
So then that's the next chunk, the next property.
Yes, this is the next property.
Difference, color difference.
Yep.
Okay, so real quick, we're going to run down to the end of this dead-end easement road because the property owner past us, he owns like thousands and thousands of acres, but it does dead-end here. And you could literally almost see Lake Barkley or Kentucky Lake. They're kind of right next to each other. So real quick, we'll run to the end. It's a dead end. We may not even have access legally down here. It depends on how the deed is written. It may stop at this 180 piece, or everyone may have access all the way up and down this road. That would be yet to be seen, but real quick, let's run to the end and then get back into property and finish the tour. Okay, so now we're re-entering the property back here. Keep in mind that you have to get to this new food plot we're going to see, you have to either come all the way around this deeded easement road, or you have to come all the way through the property, get on the deeded easement road, and then skirt over to this finger ridgetop food plot, because there's no other access from it. But it's a really pretty spot. Let's check it out.
You know if there's roads this way or just that one?
I have no idea. that corner. That's a little further than what I thought. I mean, it's at least a couple hundred yards down here. There's the edge. There's an orange marker right there on the edge. So it goes straight, follows that straight down.
So now we're going from that back food plot corner. We're back on the deeded easement. We're going to turn right here. This is the access now from the deeded easement to the main road that runs all the way from the gravel road we came in on all the way to this back access road. So the last thing we're going to show you is up on the front at the gravel road. We're going to go past the property a little bit, show you what's there, and then I'm going to tell you our decision here on this particular one. And just a little more food for thought, to get to where we were just at. If you came through the property, you would have come through this bottom food plot once, and now you're finished hunting back there. You're now, let's say you built up by the road. Now you're going to come back through this bottom food plot twice to get to that very back corner food plot. Again, just food for thought. If it's me, I'm going to build a different road system. It's going to be challenging, though. You got a lot of ground to cover, a lot of low ground, a lot of creek crossings and rocky stuff, but just food for thought. Now we're going back up to the front, and we're going to finish out. Okay, so everything on the right-hand side is the 180. You could see how steep it is. So there's really not many good building spots over here, you know, if you wanted to get away from that area that was cleared. The problem is you got to play the terrain. There's not much good building spots. You could see it goes down very steeply. We drove all the way to the neighboring property here, and the long and the short of it is we decided we're not going to pursue this one for a number of reasons. Everything that we basically covered in this video, though. There is power here. We found out it's buried. It's underground power, so you do have access to power fairly close, but just it's too steep. There's not enough building spots, not enough good opportunity to use the ground, because basically you can only use, here's another finger going in, you know, this is still part of the property on the right. You could build here, but there again you're going to be building right up by the road, and it's a growing area. New places are going to be going in, you know, year after year, and you're going to be picking up more new neighbors up by the road. So we opted not to pursue this particular one. It's a beautiful property, no doubt. So stay tuned. We appreciate having you tag along with us. This is not an easy adventure right here, I'm going to tell you that. But if you're looking for land, or if you're ever thinking about it, hopefully this can help you out to learn from our lessons as we are looking either for our next place to build or our next place, our chunk of ground with an existing older home on it. So thanks again. Have a great weekend. I'll catch you later.